Here in the United States, Mark Abrams here, and I am joined by special guest, the promoter of KO Night Boxing, John Anderson, whose fighter on Saturday night, Edward Vazquez, for lack of a better term, got ripped off in his fight against Raymond Ford. Fight seen live on the Zone around the world. John, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure. So let's just get right into it. Your fighter, Edward Vazquez, fought Raymond Ford, a matchroom boxing fighter on a matchroom boxing card.
Yes.
Vazquez seemed to have won, in my opinion, 7, maybe, at worst 6 rounds. And
Yeah, I
somehow,
think 4 is like probably the worst,
well, I was going to say, somehow, one judge gave Raymond Ford 8 rounds, another one gave him 7 rounds. I find that very, impossible. Like literally
Yeah.
impossible. You were there, you were ringside. Take us
Yeah.
through what you saw, what you thought, and just anything you want to talk about this very controversial fight.
Yeah, so I felt it kind of went as we kind of thought it would. I thought Ford would come out hot, and he did. He came out, in the first round real fast. Yeah, nice jab. Things were looking good. I mean, the first round, Ford pretty much controlled the action, but after that, Edward kind of took control of the fight. And, that's the part that's really hard for me to swallow is that, Edward actually controlled the whole entire fight, from that moment forth. So now there are some rounds that I could definitely give to Ford, but, Chris Wilson, 97, 93, Ruben Taylor, 98, 92. Unless you're blindfolded, I just don't know how you get that. You know what I mean? 6'4" would be the worst I could go. And I was sitting right there. So it's a hard pill to swallow. Now, listen, it's not just me that feels this way. You go on Twitter, you go through the media, you see how this thing's laid out. It's pretty one-sided. Ford's pretty much, on the losing end of this as far as the media goes and the general public.
You're in the, you're there, you're ringside, you hear 98, 92, 97, 93, you're nodding your head. Yes. Okay. We got this one. And then when you hear that, when you hear, and still, I guess, was it WBC or WBA regional
Yeah,
title?
WBA.
WBA.
Yeah.
When you hear and still WBA, what's the first reaction that goes through your head?
Well, I was pretty stunned, but let me kind of take you back just a little bit because as soon as the fight is over, Matchroom security actually, physically comes up to me, to the management team, to DKO, Jim and David, and then actually to Edward's father and tells us that we got to get not only out of the corral, we actually got to go behind the curtain. So they didn't even want us there for the decision. This is before the decision is read. Now, I'm not pointing a finger at Matchroom. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I'm just telling you, as long as I've been doing this, and the people that I've talked to, it's never happened, so
you leave the ring together as a team or leave the area together as a team and you walk back together.
So I really don't know what that was all about. So we actually were kind of scattered getting the decision. We weren't there as a group. We had a couple issues in the back with Ford. But, I don't blame. My blame is not to Ford. Okay. My blame is, this is an Arizona commission issue. And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. So what do you say to your fighter? I know you and Jim and Dave. What do you say to your fighter? Because I'm sure he's asking questions, how and why and what and how the bleep does this happen?
Yeah, luckily for Edward, he's been around boxing his whole life, and he's a student of the game. So he understands the politics probably as well. And this is just full of politics. So as far as the conversation goes with Edward, it's a hard conversation to have. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing when a fighter, loses a close fight, and it goes either way. You have to take those blows with the fighter. But this situation. It's really hard for me to tell you how I'm explaining this to Edward because I really had a difficult time with it because, we're in a situation where we won, but we lost. So, it's definitely a tough pill. I think we're all digesting it. Edward's got a great support group. He's got, he's got me, but he's also got extremely good management. Okay. And I mean, DKO has done an excellent job. I mean, I can't say enough about those guys. And they're also friends of mine. So and it's not just because they're friends. They actually do a really good job managing Edward. So we'll get through this. We'll kind of navigate on what the next thing is. I think we're all just kind of trying to get through this, in a way together. It's tough. I mean, luckily Edward not only has good management, he's got good family. So he's got people that understand boxing. He's got a good trainer. His father's very astute to the game. So this is, but it's just a tough pill to swallow, man. I mean, listen, if it was close, I would deal with it. And that conversation would be tough as well. But this is just a conversation that's, it's hard to have because everyone's telling you that you won. But at the end of the day, you pull it up on BoxRec, there's a big red L there. You know what I mean? And it's not going away. You know what I mean? So it's just tough for us to deal with. But I mean, we'll get through it.
I remember when watching ESPN Friday Night Fights, Teddy Atlas used to say, you know what? Now, I mean, the ramifications of this, you got to kind of the fighter on the wrong end decision has to go back down the ladder and has to, kind of climb himself way back, climb himself back up. Do you feel is that what you need to do, or do you feel that Edward performs, so well that he will get a comparable, a comparable fight, a comparable opportunity as what he had on Saturday night, if not even a rematch?
Yeah, I mean, I think both those things are in play. I mean, a rematch is nothing I heard Eddie talk about it a little bit. We talked about stuff in the back about a rematch. Things were brought up, but I think personally we're going to get more opportunity probably than ever. I think actually Edward's brand and just Edward himself actually won from this. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like he's got more fans probably than ever. People were coming out of the woodwork that I've never seen or talked to before. My phone has never blown up like that. So the support system, not only from the media, and I mean, look, we had a tweet from Chris Mannix. I mean, yesterday, calling out the judge, and he's with DAZN. So it does feel good. I do feel we can recover from this. I think we're going to get an opportunity from this, and I hope it's a top 15 guy, because at the end of the day, Edward's at that level. He's ready to fight. He showed it. Ray Ford's number 9 in the world in the WBA, and look what Edward was able to do. So that kind of tells you that, he's right where he's supposed to be.
I mean, at worst, he's 9A. You know what I mean? He's he's right there. So I mean, have you had any? I know, and I hate when people do this right after fights. Have you had call? You said you've had calls from a lot of different people. Have other promoters or whatever called you and say, you know what, Edward and my guy will be a good fight? I think, or is that just too soon right now?
It's probably a little bit too soon, but I can tell you this, that for all of the big guys have reached out already. So that just tells you, he's definitely on the radar right now. We're just going to have to weigh this out. I think the best part about this is Edward's going to have more options probably than he ever had. I mean, look, if he lost to Ford here, we'd have to pick up our boots, strap them up, and figure it out, right? But I mean, we feel like we won. And so, I mean, saying that, I think the opportunities are going to be, heavily in our favor here.
I know the fight. I know Edward asked for this fight, this particular fight, and there's a lot of trash talk on social media leading up to it. And I think the fight, even though I guess it was third on the bill, probably, and there was a world championship with a highly regarded young fighter that won the title, Bam Rodriguez. This was the fight of the night. This might be the fight of the night on all networks.
Oh, it was definitely, and we knew it was going to be because I knew Ford was going to come in and fight his rear end off. You know what I mean? So it's not like I felt like, oh my God, this is going to be a boring fight. Man, I knew it was good. I mean, stylistically, you can't ask for anything better. But here's what I'll say about this, and this is just how I feel about the whole entire thing. It's not just because he's my guy, okay? I mean, leading up to the fight, we pushed and promoted this thing between DKO, Edward, and myself. I believe we carried the whole thing. Okay. So, I mean, from a media standpoint, if you pulled up, any of these major outlets that are putting stuff online or whatever, it was Vasquez this, Vasquez that, Vasquez this, Vasquez that. So then, we go to the weigh-in. Now, not only that, we steal a weigh-in. I mean, literally, we're the talk of the weigh-in. Okay. So then we go to the fight. Now we're the talk of the whole show. So in my mind, Edward just outdid himself because he backed up exactly what he said he was going to do. His ring IQ, which he doesn't get enough credit for, was incredible. So this kid really, to me, the stock is high, man. And listen, everybody should start buying. Let me tell you, because this kid can fight for a world title. He can win a world title, and he's got the goods. And nobody, I'm telling you, I've been in this for a while. I don't know any fighter that I've been around that can match the work ethic of Edward Vazquez. Just incredible work ethic, the commitment. He's just a wonderful kid. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
And he's performed. He's had two high profile fights. First on the Tyson Roy Jones card, he performed and was in the best fight of the night. And again on Saturday night. Last question about Edward, and I'll ask you a couple questions about what you got going on.
Sure.
All things being equal, rematch with Ray Ford or a comparable fight, in a regional title fight against a comparable type of fighter, money being the same, all things being equal, would the Ford fight be the fight that you would lean to?
Not necessarily. And the reason why I feel that way is I just feel we won by such a big margin. You know what I mean? I don't even think it'd be close.
The old nothing left to prove thing.
Yeah, I think we could just, kind of mop the floor with it again. I mean, we could do that, you know what I mean? But, at the end of the day, the terms would have to be a little bit different. And there'd have to be more of a level playing field. And listen, I thought this was a level playing field. I didn't feel like I was putting Edward in a position to where we were going to lose. I felt I was putting him in a position to win. So this really falls kind of on me, and this is something that I got to live with and deal with and try to develop a better situation for Edward. Look, I mean, we're looking to, get KO kind of on the map here and doing some shows coming up here. I'm trying to get some stuff going in the East Coast. I got a great group of kids over there in Connecticut that I'm very excited about. And I got a kid out of California I'm excited about. Got a couple out of Texas. So, I mean, I'm starting to kind of get the ball rolling. I kind of had a lull in the action there with COVID and, but I'm not using that as an excuse. We actually were to keep, that's how Edward got a lot of his opportunity because I had no choice. You know what I mean? I had to, go with guys that were on TV. So I just feel like, there's going to be something here for us at the end of the rainbow for Edward, but I'm excited for everybody. I mean, for the whole entire group that we have. And listen, I got DKO management here, managing quite a few of my guys. So, I'm feeling like I'm on the right track.
That's a great segue. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about KO Night Boxing. Tell us a little bit about the origin of it, and some of the fighters. I know you had a big win on ShowBox with William Foster a couple weeks ago. To talk this a little bit about you and
Sure.
your introduction to boxing and how long you've been around.
Sure. So man, I'm probably on about a 7-year run. I developed the show Knockout Night the D. That's kind of how it all started for me. That's how I started to get guys. I started dealing with a whole bunch of promoters. I dealt with everybody. I brought in RJJ as the house promoter there. And it was great, man. We had a great run there. We had a great series there. I'm proud of it. It was something that I'm definitely proud that I did. But then I started managing fighters. I couldn't get away from it. I got the boxing itch. And then the next thing you know, I'm promoting shows. So it's kind of been a bumpy road, a bumpy up and down road. I'm kind of one of these guys. I'm just a believer that if you just stay on the path, you can get there. Boxing's a tough path to go, as you know. So, you're only as good as your last one. But I do want to touch on the last one with William Foster as well. That was a split decision too. So I don't know if you got to see that.
I saw, yes, sure did.
I don't know what anybody was seeing there. So you could actually, a lot of times when the fight goes the way it's supposed to, but the other judge is still way off on base, they get away with it. You know what I mean? It doesn't really get brought up in the media because, hey, the right decision was made. It is what it is. But I just want to touch on this real quick, and is that I feel the accountability of these judges. I know this is an issue in boxing. It's clearly an issue, and they just need to be held accountable. I don't know what that is, whether it's a suspension, a fine, or whatever, but I think you should be accountable for your actions, because the rest of us in this world are, right? For various things, that you might do in your career. So it just feels like if this is a job that you're being paid to do, I don't know. I think you should be held accountable for your actions,
1,000%.
But hey, I appreciate having me on, man.
Be made available to the media, or explain what you saw to somebody. But
yeah, sure. Why not? Like I said, Chris Wilson got a pass here. I know I'm going back to Vazquez, but everybody, through the Twitter and through everything, it's all about Ruben Rocky Taylor. Okay. 98, 92. But listen, man, hey, I want to know about Chris Wilson, 97, 93. So, this is a tough pill to swallow. I know we're kind of getting off base. I'm going back and forth with you, Mark, but it's just, the judges here, I think, need to be held accountable. I'll just kind of leave you with that, but I really appreciate you giving me a chance to at least talk about it. Hey, I know this will probably go on deaf ears for a few, but hey, maybe one day this will make a difference.
Well, like I said, we from Saturday, Sunday, and you said even yesterday, Chris Mannix tweet, we got to keep it out there. You know what I mean? Even if this interview, gets some traction for a couple of days, we keep it out there, and right. Hopefully things will be rectified. There's nothing you can do about this decision, unfortunately. And I was thinking, as beautiful as Arizona is, I don't think you're running back there anytime.
Probably not. I like Arizona. Look, man, this was a tough one, man. I'm still waking up today with it. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm talking to you about it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to go away, man. I know Edward. He's such a pro, you know what I mean? He's going to just roll up his sleeves and get back to work. But I think at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's hard when you win, but you lose. So, but hey, I appreciate you having me on, man. Really.
Good couple last things. Where do we see you or KO Night on social media? You can promote your.
Yeah, we can do. We're starting to get the Twitter going at KO Night Boxing, and then we got a Facebook as well. I'm starting to put my social media together here now that I got a good group of guys. So we'll get some stuff going, beyond that. I'm gonna develop some stuff this year. As soon as I launch our first show this year, I'll be exploding out with social media and all kinds of great stuff. So we're looking to probably get something going here. I'm hoping to make a big announcement, which I'll get back on with you in the next couple months here, to start another series. So, right. My goal is actually to do a series. I don't want to do a one-off. I want to go back kind of where I started and get a series where I can welcome all promoters to come in. We can do business together, similar to Showbox. That's one thing I do love about Showbox. I just want to touch on real quick is these guys, they bring in all the guys. You know what I mean? They don't just, there's always a head promoter, but if you go through there, I got to be a part of that show. There was 5 other promoters on the last show I was there. So that's the model that I'm looking to do. But anyway, hey, I appreciate you having me on, man.
My pleasure, John. Thank you for taking a few minutes to get what you needed to get off your chest. Obviously, it's but what was very informative, especially to the fans out there who saw the fight and were outraged like you were. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, I really appreciate this opportunity, and thanks a lot.